bring the obligatory swerve dance by Prince Nana. National treasure, AEW. You have a national meme treasure in Prince Nana. This match. Hangman Adam Page versus Swerve Strickland at Full Gear 2023 Texas Death Match. This match. So, allow me to give a little bit of backstory. I went to the first Full Gear all in the before times, before we knew COVID, before we were fucked for 2 to 3 years and could still argue we're still being fucked now about the virus and all that. But way in the ether, we went to Full Gear 2019, me and my mother. And I got the front row seats, steel chair commemoratives, still over there on the count in my room, still hanging out 2 commemorative chairs, all for the low price of $700. I contributed, of course. And I got to be part of the entrance with Jon Moxley. Awesome. And I was seeing that main event live, and I saw Kenny by God Omega, the God of Pro Wrestling, taking on Jon Moxley in a lights out match, which is considered the unsanctioned rules of AEW. That would not go against their win-loss record, though of course that no longer counts now since they kind of abandoned it due to all the injuries that happened last year, and therefore they just gave up instead of just rebooting the thing into this year. But yeah, Hangman Adam Page would fight Swerve Strickland in this big primordial grudge match, which is the match itself. I'll be surprised if there's a third match, but I won't be surprised if this is the end, considering what we got out of that. But yeah, Swerve in Our Glory disbanded years back, a year or so back. Tragic. We never got that resolution at the end of that group, of that tag team. Would have been a nice match. Would have been really nice. And I'm still owed my money. And I'm not letting that go, regardless of what AEW will tell me. But, or at least give me credit, Tony. Come on, just say it. Just see, I came up with the name, man. All I ask is for some recognition. So anyways, yeah, Swerve formed Mogul Embassy with combining factions, and he has been on a hot streak. He benefited the most from the Swerve in Our Glory days. Keith Lee, however, I have no idea what's been going on with him. 1 minute he's on TV, then he's not, then he is, then he's not. He then suddenly reportedly gets another health crisis ever since the heart inflammation from a few years back that combined with COVID almost killed him. And of course, we won't talk about the politics that happened with that, because somehow, even though this was a life and health situation, apparently there were corporate politics involved that nearly helped contribute to this whole mess. Yeah. But Swerve Strickland has supreme. And here's the thing: years back, when Swerve Strickland was Isaiah Swerve Scott, yeah, that was his name. And before the days of Hit Row, he was kind of a rising player in NXT, and I even advocated that he should definitely be at War Games. He should get the show stealing performance at War Games when NXT was still bleeding black and gold. Sadly, that match never happened, and instead Kevin Owens took his spot. And I thought that was a missed opportunity. He was then North American Champion, and then he lost it after a month, and he didn't even defend it. His first title defense was a loss, so that was a complete waste of time. He then formed Hit Row. No one cared about that as much. Like, Hit Row was only relevant for people because Swerve was in the group, was the leader. Then he left, and then they kept some of the members, and they kept the faction going. But you knew it was missing Swerve, so Swerve was the only thing that made it better, that made it good. And the Top Dollar kind of tried to take over. Then he got fired, then came back. And, well, Hit Row kind of is where it's at now, to the point that Apparently, the biggest feud they were going to have was with Michael Cole, and Top Dollar was going to lose because of outside interference, aka his best friend, aka Cole's best friend Pat McAfee, and lo and behold, we got nothing. Tragedy, ain't it? Where this group fell apart instantaneously. But now Swerve has thrived in AEW. He, to the point WWE report allegedly, and this was the clear indication it was him. He gave the hints and suggestions, and there may have been a few whistles blown from corporate management side. I don't know. But reports where WWE was trying to contract him for somebody, and there were signs and indications that it was Swerve Strickland, so they had contractor's remorse even when Vince was running the thing. So, yeah, that shot them in the butt. And people, Swerve would become one of the top heels, especially when MJF turned face. Yeah, still surprised by that. MJF turned face, and then his throne of the Devil's Seat of Hell got filled in, sort of, with Swerve Strickland and his Mogul Embassy, and Christian Cage, Father of the Year, leader of the patriarchy. And you know, that means that Adam Copeland is gonna smash the patriarchy. He's gonna smash the patriarchy, damn it. Smash you! While Hangman and Page continued to wage his war against Mogul Embassy, which started over something petty and now has full-blown escalated into complete and utter madness, to the point that Swerve went as far as to break into Adam Page's home and leave his t-shirt behind on Hangman's kid's crib. Remember how the last lethal feud started with Hangman and it was over because Moxley knocked him out accidentally and he couldn't remember his child's name, and well, he then proceeded to wage holy war against Jon Moxley, and it led to a Texas death match this year. Hard to believe it's been not even a whole year yet. It's only been 8 months. And we're at the 11th month of November. Time flies. But, yeah. We got to this point. The Texas Death Match, which might as well be AEW's response to Hell in a Cell, since they don't really do a, quote, Hell in a Cell match. They do a cage match, which is more of a traditional cage match as opposed to the WWE popularized one. But, yeah. And Hangman's pretty much on his own. The Young Bucks are currently in self-pity mode and waging an elite civil war against Kenny Omega and his budding friendship with Chris Jericho, and constantly hanging out with the newly signed Kota Ibushi, as the Don Callis family slowly sinks their claws into All Elite Wrestling. And Kenny Omega finally won a match on pay-per-view. Bravo. It just took you losing your friends in the process, so I'm pretty sure that's not victory in the end. Yeah. So Hangman was basically the lone cowboy against the establishment, the Mogul Embassy, the leader, Swerve Strickland. He's out to kill the last standing cowboy, and he's gonna go out swinging. And it would be on his turf, Texas Death Match, aka the match that the king of Texas Death Match reigns in. Because that's what Hangman's become in recent years, the king of the Texas Death Match. Mostly in AEW. There are far more well-known kings of the death match throughout wrestling history. But I'm just going for AEW continuity's sake, since Hangman mostly thrives in that kind of madness. And long and behold, the match instantly descends into barbarism. Staple gun to the chest, to the face, to the head, to the cheek, with Hangman's kid's drawing being stapled onto Swerve's cheek. And Swerve had to dig into the most darkest side of himself he has not done in years. He had to revive his Lucha Underground persona kill shot to give in to the darkness and succumb to barbarism. And I must stress, that match where he fought the other guy in Lucha Underground, yeah, flesh was torn off. Like legit flesh. Like a clump of skin and blood, and God knows what else from the wrestler's back was ripped off. And you should have put him in a match with Hangman, who will bleed profusely, just like Swerve did. And you're gonna say this is not gonna get us fined whatsoever here in the state of California. California! Anyways, by the way, Hangman drank his blood. Yeah. Disturbing visual. He legitimately drank Swerve's blood, bleeding profusely like a stuffed pig, and a water faucet that was completely broken and keeps moving out water even when we try to switch it off. Okay, I watched the Jeff Meacham commentary on this. I had to hear their viewpoint on the madness that was going on in this match. And our buddy from the ATW gang, James, was back on there. So cool for that. He was completely squeamish throughout the whole thing. I don't blame him, considering what they did in here. But it was like, oh god, these two are not going to stop. These two are not going to stop trying to kill each other. Because you would think the stable gun would be partly the end. We know the barbed wire is going to come in. Long and behold, the barbed wire comes in, and there's signs indicating that this was not fake barbed wire, but legit barbed wire due to all the spikes on it. So, the fact that we did not see a mandible flesh torn off like it was in the Lucha Underground days is a miracle unto itself. We just had bleeding buckets coming out. And somewhere out there, I know Bryan Danielson is suddenly expecting his ordinance. He's going crazy in the gym, and the gym bros are going to move back and away into him. I should probably get a jar at this point, just for the amount of money I would lose constantly referencing Bryan and his extreme blood fetish. Because he has basically admitted that. He said he wanted to keep buckets in WWE, and Vince couldn't give him that, so he went somewhere else to get that would give him the blood and guts he wants. Way to go, man. At least you're honest. So anyways, so you would think, okay, they're gonna go with barbed wire stuff, and that's gonna be it. Maybe a bit of thumbtacks. Nope, they don't do thumbtacks. Yeah, I was surprised by that too. No, they instead went with, let me just reference this one time because it certainly felt like calling for it. You don't want to know what that was? Real glass! Go cry me a river! And long and behold, I'm pretty sure someone got pissed off about that. Yes, that's my only time I'm going to reference what happened at Brawl In. But yeah, Swerve gets real shards of glass laid out on Hangman's back, and instead of just stomping on him with his boot that could protect him, he was like, no, I'm going to do something worse. I'm going to do something even stupider. I'm going to jump 450 splash and land my stomach on those glasses, and I don't care if it somehow cuts me up in the process. And he did, and somehow it did not cut him up in the process like I thought it would. Oh, before that, they used cinder blocks. Like, oh god, I was half convinced they were going like the Jeff Meacham group, Noah and James and JJ. They were referencing how they're surprised they didn't do a destroy, and I was like, oh god, at least I wasn't the only one that thought that. I thought for sure. Granted, it might have been impossible considering they were on the barricade, security barricade, and there was not enough leverage to do that. But I wouldn't be surprised if they tried to find a way to do a Canadian destroyer on the freaking barricade. This was unmatched barbarism at its finest. Oh god. Like, barbed wire was being used. Okay, that's common in AEW. No, let's go with glass. Let's go with bleeding bucket faucets. Let's go with Prince Nana swerving it up while he protects his boss. Even though everyone kind of wanted the match to end. And some even reportedly said they were crying during it because, you know, this is hardcore violence at its most brutal. I'm pretty sure even Paul Heyman would be looking at this and be like, damn, what I would not have given to have ECW still around and have these two guys going at it. I wouldn't be surprised if Paul Heyman thought that if he watches this. Oh man. JJ from the Jeff Meacham Network mentioned how he has been to the ECW OG shows that used to be around that area, the Judgment Day event where Eddie Guerrero bled and had to go to the hospital, and then we remember there was the John Cena JBL match that ended in gory fashion and John Cena attempting murder because, you know, even though he's a face, he can still have an edge, and you know, he abandoned that years later, and we hated that ever since. But oh man, even James wanted this match to stop. Like, he wanted this match to end. He even went as far as to say he forgives Hangman for the whole Punk drama that happened and everything that spawned from it, which is saying a lot. And Hangman just couldn't keep stopping. And then Swerve goes for the Cactus Jack clothesline out of the ring. And they're continuing to fight. And Hangman grabs the steel chair wrapped in barbed wire, jumps off the top rope with a crashes into Swerve. And then he tries to land another shot on him. And then Swerve smashes his chair over Hangman's head. And the barbed wire gets loose and wraps around his hair and neck. And I'm just like, oh, how is no one dead from this point yet? Like, this is like a fine way to happen if the state of California approves this. Like, because remember, when Jon Moxley and Kenny Omega went at it, they got fined for that. They were fined by a sports group in Maryland that is part of the government. They got fined for that. I am curious how much California, if this wasn't approved by them, had to make AEW pay for all this. Like, oh my god, we totally knew it was a Texas death match. We didn't expect this. Like, we had last man standing matches, but this is a Texas death match. But like, oh god, the match I went to, Jon Moxley came like paled in comparison with the brutality, the unmatched brutality we got from this. Unmatched barbarism at its finest. And then Brian Cage came out, and there's some people that were mixed about it because it's like, why is he out here? Though it didn't bug me like I maybe thought it would have. Like, for three reasons. One, I kind of expected this was going to happen eventually, regardless of Prince Nana coming in to save the day and pull him out. Two, look at how Swerve was getting beaten down for three big finishing moves. And they needed someone to go out there and protect Swerve just so he could just to be believably recuperating enough to go out and finish the job. And three, Brian Cage made the most sense. One, he's a California guy, he's a SoCal guy, so naturally they'll respect him. Two, Hangman and Brian Cage have the most history together since the days of 2021. When Brian Cage cost Hangman his initial championship opportunity, and then there was a grudge match, and then he won that, and so on and so forth. But yeah, there's at least a foundation to work with in the fact that Brian Cage is part of the Mogul Embassy, but this makes more sense to have him be the one that come out to save the day. And then Hangman murders him with a barbed wire Texas clothesline. Oh man. And then Prince Nana, the treasure of the Mogul Embassy, comes out and grabs a steel chair, not the barbed wire one, and basically proclaims he's going to protect his master, clocks Hangman in the back, and Hangman just looks at him like, is that your strongest move? and Prince Nana realizes, I've made a huge mistake, and proceeds to make a living run for it, only to be captured by Hangman, and Swerve, and Prince Nana, as Swerve still recovers from his massive damage he's received. Oh, I didn't mention, he then starts stapling guns on him, stapling himself with the staple gun after taking it from Hangman to showcase his barbarism, brutality unmatched earlier in the match. But Prince Nana, knowing that he's done for, knowing Hangman's gonna kill him and smash him through this table that Brian Cage set up, that was meant for Hangman, but Hangman's gonna dead-eye pile drive him into it. So Nana does the one thing he can do.
I should be like you, Mel.
Hangman then lets him go like, oh god, dude, we just seriously do this? And that's fuck it. And does the dead-eye pile driver onto the table. And I'm surprised the commentators, both the Jeff Meacham commentary team and the AEW commentary team, didn't go and jokingly say, at least Prince Nana is leaving this earth with a hilarious obituary. Because he swerved and he died. He swerved for his death. He swerved and he died. His Nana is the best. And just when you think, oh yeah, the match is still going on, then Swerve appears out of nowhere and smashes the remains of the cinder block into Hangman's neck. You would think that would be it. There were like 3 or 4 false finishes. Maybe 3, and there was almost an attempt to act like there was going to be a 4. Swerve went through 2. Hangman went through 2. And just when you think the cinder block was going to be the one that does Hangman in, he gets up. Swerve realizing he has to go even further into the depths of the kill shot days of Lucha Underground, gets the chains and wraps it around Hangman's neck, hanging the Hangman up by a noose and strangling the life out of him using the ring post. And Hangman goes down. You think that's it. That's the end of the match. And Hangman then, right before it hits 10, is slowly starting to get back up, and only for the ref to get to 10, and he just gives out. And then Swerve gives out, realizing, oh god, I am in incredible pain. And lo and behold, our gory, violent, barbaric, sadist, probably praise the sadisms of the world under all of this, and Blackpool Combat Club would probably approve this. Texas Deathmatch Galore is finally over. Nearly almost 30 minutes of unmatched barbarism. Oh man. Oh. This was violent. Like, it was violent. I was amazed how violent they went with this. Like I know they really will go for the violence on pay-per-view a lot and sometimes on TV. But oh god, I have not seen this much violence in a long while on this level. And I think they won't top it anytime soon. I'm pretty sure they're gonna probably take that as a challenge now. But it was like, oh god, we have 2 more matches, and they're elite focused, and one's MJF focused, and that's gonna be probably 20 or 30 minutes each. Holy crap! How are they gonna follow that? Oh man. At least none of the women matches had to follow that. That would have been that would have been just like, cancel a match, guys. Like, as much as we want the women wrestlers to be represented more and given more respect, you know they can't make it. You know they're not even going to be allowed to be given that kind of wake the crowd up with that after something like that. In fact, I think we should have just canceled the whole show and made this the main event afterwards. Like with the story build-up show they did with MJF and Jay Whitehall and Adam Cole, baby. And the Young Bucks and tag team action they had that really had only one stake, and we kind of had a suspicion where it was going to go. You could easily argue this should have been the lights out match to end the night, and no one probably would have complained. I'm like, well, some would, because there are intensely conservative-based wrestling fans that feel like the world champ should go last, and I totally respect that. I've been advocating for that for years, especially when WWE kept ignoring the Royal Rumble rulings, even though they keep saying it every single freaking time during the last several WrestleManias. Man, until the two-night system saved everything. But yes, unmatched brutality was displayed, and my God, I don't think it's gonna be topped anytime soon. Probably next year, probably, but yeah. This was awesome. Unmatched brutality, yeah. That's all I can say here. The Swerve beats Hangman 2-0. He's 2-0 over the Cowboy, over the Hangman. If that doesn't say, yeah, this feud's done, I'll be freaking amazed. If they keep going, I'm just like, how can you top that afterwards? You have to let these two get a break from each other. Like I know Hangman still feels like he needs to get his just vengeance on Swerve, but Hangman needs to sell this for a little bit, realizing he's failed. He needs to dig deep into himself and find that Texas cowboy, the one that would go so far as to hang a man Frankie Kazarian style and smash his skull with a skull once upon a time in Ring of Honor. And that wasn't enough, because Swerve brought the kill shot. What is a buckshot to a kill shot? And to be quite honest, if they don't give Swerve Strickland a title run, not the world title, we can wait that out. But if they don't give Swerve Strickland a title run with either the international belt, the TNT belt, I would love to see Christian Cage and Swerve go out on the mic just to see that insanity arise. Or hell, I'd be all for him going and winning the Continental Classic, potentially dethroning Kingston and taking both belts with him, the Ring of Honor World title and the New Japan Strong title. I would be all for that if he won that, since Eddie Kingston's participated and he's putting his titles on the line for both all, not for every match he's in. So yeah, man, this was brutal. I won't be surprised if they get fined. I'm gonna say it's worth it. Just worth it. Oh man. So this was your host, Eric Brown of NRE The WrestleVerse, New Reality Entertainment. Feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. Check out the content in the description below to give you more. I'll see you all again next time. Peace and take care. Oh man, we still have one more month. They could probably top this.